recording now. Awesome. So, yeah, so my name is Joseph Miranda, broker and owner of Miranda Executive Realty. This is our latest Ask the Broker session. Before we get too far into this here, we're going to do our shameless plug. Basically, this is for agents that are not with Miranda Executive Realty, or if an MX agent shares this, for our rewards, you can just share this QR code right here. Any agent that's interested can just, enter their information and we'll reach out to them and tell them all about Miranda Executive Realty. This is our Ask the Broker session. So this is where I basically speak for the entire training, but we do like to answer questions as we kind of go along. So if you have any questions or you have anything, that comes to mind while I'm talking about it, please feel free to enter it into the chat over here. And I'll do my best to answer it kind of on the spot. Otherwise, if it's something that can wait until the end, that's fine as well. Just jot it down and we're happy to come back to it, at the end. We'll definitely make sure we get to all of the questions before we leave. But just, sometimes for the sake of time, I do like to begin on time and end on time, just to respect everybody's time. We may hold it out to the end, but please, if you like, you can go ahead and pin it in the message there or post it in the messages there, and we'll get to it as soon as we can. Quick disclaimer. So again, broker, owner, Miranda Executive Realty. I'm not an attorney. I'm not an accountant. This is not legal. This is not financial advice. This is really no type of advice at all. I may not have any idea of what I'm talking about at all. You just kind of have to discern that for yourself and see if you trust and believe what I'm saying or not. I will tell you, I've been doing this for a long time. So, there may be some truth to some of the things I'm saying, but please seek professional counsel before you do anything. Don't make financial or investment decisions or whatever based on this. So I am really looking forward to this training that we're doing today. There's a statistic that, 87% of real estate agents end up failing. I don't know what the time frame on that is, whether it's 5 years, 2 years, 1 year. But what that means is if you're standing in a room and there's 100 agents in that room, at some point, only 13 people in that room will continue to be real estate agents. We all know somebody that has been a real estate agent. We all know somebody probably that is a real estate agent right now, but you can't really tell that they're real estate agents because they don't really do anything in real estate. So what we want to talk about are, the top 10 reasons that I see that real estate agents fail and how can you avoid it. What you're gonna learn here is that, a lot of what I bring up here is going to be the same thing that, that we talk in and day out. So, what are we going to talk about? Some facts, some things in this training. Okay, so within the first 5 years, there's your statistic right there. Probably should have read my slides before speaking, but hey, that's okay. 87% of real estate agents fail in the first 5 years. We're definitely going to talk about, why that is and what you can do to stop that. Some of it's going to be like a strategy, time management, skills, and then some of the things that you can do to avoid these things and set yourself up for success. So reason number one, and again, these are really not in any sort of order. So I wouldn't say this is the number one reason. This is reason number one, but maybe not the number one reason that real estate agents fail. Maybe NAR did a study, maybe NAR did something, but this is not really based on any number or statistic. This is just the order that we put this in. It seems to kind of flow a little bit logically for this. So just keep that in mind. The reason number one that real estate agents fail is that they tend to be interested and not committed, right? What is interested? Interested is, we talk about, motivation versus drive, right? So interested is it's enough that you'll go through the class, you'll learn these things. It's enough that, maybe you're interested in real estate because you've watched a lot of HGTV and the fun stuff in real estate is interesting. Staging houses, getting the curb appeal, cashing the big, $27,000 or $60,000 paychecks, right? Those are the things that are interesting, right? Those are the things that when you're watching, a real estate kind of reality TV series, these are the things that draw people in. You say, wow, I can do that. Oh, that looks so simple. That looks so easy. right? These are the interesting parts of real estate, but you forget that it takes a commitment. You can't do the fun things if you aren't willing to put the time in first. So real estate takes a major commitment. I mean, depending on what level of success you want to achieve in real estate is going to depend on the level that you need to be committed. If you come into real estate and you say, well, I only want to sell 1 to 3 houses per year. I'm fine doing this on a part-time basis. I don't really need the income. It'd be nice to maybe have a little bit of extra income. Maybe you can afford to be a little bit less committed. You don't need to treat this, like your bread and butter or your meat and potatoes, right? You can just kind of treat this as something. If a deal comes along, I'm happy, I'm fine, I'm okay. But if you're coming into real estate and you're telling yourself that, I need to make this happen, right? I'm going to make it or make it. Those are my only 2 options. I don't have any other option. Then you need to be committed, right? There needs to be a level of commitment that goes beyond motivation, that goes into drive, right? Drive, motivation, is the thing that, maybe gets you through getting your real estate license, but it doesn't get you through the tough times. The drive is what gets you out of bed day after day after day after day, doing the same thing, falling into those routines, right? Which leads us into reason number 2 for why those 87% end up failing. No strategy. They have no strategy, or it's a very poor strategy. Do you have a strategy when it comes to real estate? Right? Do you have, is there something, do you have a plan to meet your goals? Right? And we're going to talk about goals in just a second, right? But, there needs to be some strategy, some implementation of things that are going to lead you down this path that's going to ultimately lead you to what? To success, right? People don't like to cold call. I see sometimes on social media, they talk about getting qualified leads that that are ready to buy, ready to sell without doing any cold calling. I don't really know how that works. Maybe they consider, if the lead is not, just kind of call that random, maybe it becomes a warm call, or a hot lead would be a hot call. I'm not sure how you get those warm calls until you've built a relationship with somebody. Because to me, even if I get a lead from, an online lead source, or from social media, or it's a website registration, landing page, whatever it is, to me, that first phone call always feels cold. It always feels cold, unless it's a referral, unless it's a past client, unless it's a follow-up phone call that I've had with somebody. It always feels cold, right? But no matter what it is that you do, you need that strategy, right? Let me skip ahead a couple of slides here, and we're going to talk about the difference between strategy and goals. Okay, so your strategy is, your roadmap. Your strategy is, it tells you how to get where you want to go, right? Your goal is your destination. So you say, okay, I want to sell, what do you want? You want units? You want volume? Are you going to set your goals, units and volume, right? That's your destination, but your strategy is the roadmap that tells you how to get there. I want to go to the Grand Canyon, and I want to arrive there, by March 1st. Okay, well, maybe you have plenty of time if you're going to fly out there, right? Your roadmap would be really just a flight plan. You're going to book your flight, you're going to fly there, you're going to land at the airport, jump in an Uber, they're going to take you to the Grand Canyon, and you're there fast and easy. If you're going to drive there, you need to look a little bit closer at the roadmap, right? How many hours is the drive going to be? Where are your stops going to be? When are you going to take a break? When are you going to stop to eat, for restroom, get gas? All of these things. If you want to be there by March 1st, you've only got a few days to drive there, right? And, maybe if you drive there nonstop, you don't stop for anything except maybe to get gas, use the restroom, you might be able to get there in a day or so. But if you're not a complete psychopath and you need sleep, you need rest, then you need a strategy that's going to involve sleep and rest. And maybe you don't want to just stay at any random motel that, you know, has the billboard that, you know, $59 a night and it's a quarter mile down the road. You know, that might be a little bit scary after you check in, and you might be like, what was I thinking? Right? So you need to have a strategy for how you're going to do that, right? That strategy, let me go back a slide here now. That strategy is going to do what? That strategy is going to help us achieve our goals, right? So you can't have goals without a strategy. You can't have a destination without a roadmap. So what are your goals, right? We've all heard of SMART goals. I love SMART goals. We definitely did not, you know, this is not something that we created here. I don't really know who created it, to be honest with you, but these goals right here, this is how you would create a goal for literally anything in your life. But this is definitely how you should create a goal for real estate. But it should be SMART. It needs to be specific, because if it's general, if it's broad, if it's vague, then you know, it's not, you know, I want to, you know, if you don't say I want to go to the Grand Canyon, or if you don't say I want to go to, you know, this part of the Grand Canyon, I don't know what parts there are in the Grand Canyon, but I know it's really big, and there's probably more than one place that you can visit at the Grand Canyon, right? So, you know, you may end up on the east side of the Grand Canyon when really you wanted to see the west side of the Grand Canyon. That's going to be a little bit different route, right? In the beginning, you may go the same way, but then you need to diverge a little bit and start going a different way. It needs to be measurable, right? So you need to be able to track along the way if you're on track to be there, right? I'm going to give myself 3 days to get to the Grand Canyon. Well, within a day and a half, should you be 50% there? I think, right? Now, you know, there's certain areas are going to be a little bit different, but you need to be by a certain time, you need to be 50% there, right? So specific, how many houses do you want to sell? You know, this year from January 1st through December 31st, I want to sell 24 houses. Well, sometime by the end of June, you probably need to be around 12, right? If you're going to track it that way. Number 3, it should be achievable. So you don't want us to set a goal that just feels so far out of reach that you're just discouraged every time you look at your goals. Should they be so achievable that you achieve them in 6 months? If you know that you can sell 12 houses a year, 1 per month on average, then why would you set your goal to sell 12 houses per year? You need to stretch at least a little bit. Yeah, you know, when we go to the trainings, you know, they tell us, okay, write down your goal that you want to achieve by this year. Now times that by 2, and that's your real goal. So, you know, make sure that you're stretching. To me, personally, I don't know that you should ever really achieve your goal. If you achieve your goal, you may not have set it high enough in the first place, and you may not have done enough in that year to really achieve what you really could have achieved in that time frame. So, you know, a goal needs to feel a little bit intimidating, but not intimidating enough that, you know, it just unmotivates you, that it feels impossible to achieve. It needs to be relevant. You know, in real estate, we talk about units and we talk about volume. You know, you could probably talk about different types of things in real estate for your goals, but I'm not really sure, you know, how relevant that's going to be. You know, but maybe, you know, another relevant goal. I want to be a luxury sales agent. I only want to sell luxury. Well, that's a little bit different, right? You know, how many luxury homes do you want to sell this year? Or how much luxury volume? Or I want to sell to celebrities and sports professionals. Okay, well, that's a little bit different path. How do you get to those people? Right? So just make sure that it is, you know, that it's relevant to your industry, which, you know, should be pretty simple, I think. And then time bound, by when? Because what we know is everything will stretch to fit the time that's allowed for it. You know, everybody kind of waits until the last minute to do a lot of things. So make sure you put a deadline on this. If you say you're going to sell 12 houses in 1 year, then every month you need to be selling 1. That's your time frame. You need to break it down, you know, to that appropriate time frame. So, you know, again, strategy and goals. You're going to start with the goal, and your strategy is how you're going to get there, right? So the SMART goals tell you, okay, I want to sell 12 houses per year, or I want to sell 24 houses per year. But the strategy is how you're going to get there. You need to have a strategy. Are you going to cold call? If you're going to cold call, who are you going to call? First sale by owners, expireds? Are you going to pay for, you know, Zillow leads? Are you going to use the leads that are in our system in Bold Trail? right? But how often, if you've got to get to a certain destination by a certain time, right? You're driving to the Grand Canyon. How many hours are you going to drive per day to get there? So how many hours are you going to call per day to get there? How many numbers do you need to dial? How many contacts do you need to make? How do all of these things actually break down to lead you to get to that destination on time? And do you need to adjust your plan a little bit as time goes on? I think, yeah. If you've never cold called in your life, to have the expectation that you're going to set one appointment every single day, I think that's not a realistic expectation. So, maybe after you've been calling for, a few months, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, maybe you can set one appointment every single day. But in the beginning, just make sure that, you're being realistic about that goal and how you're going to do it. Do you want to door knock? Do you want to do open houses? A million ways to get there. There's no just one route to get from here to the Grand Canyon. Some routes are going to be more efficient. Some routes you're going to take the scenic route. Some routes are just going to be miserable. You're going to hit all the traffic. Some routes are going to have more stops. It's the same thing with your strategy and your destination with marketing and real estate. There's more than one way to get there, but you need to have your roadmap, right? What's the next thing? Number 4. What's the fourth reason that we see that real estate agents would fail? Overthinking. Overthinking is a huge factor. I hear it all the time. You probably experience it all the time. I do it myself. And why do we overthink? Because it's that fear of failing. It's and then we fall into what? We fall into analysis paralysis, where you're thinking so much. You're trying to think of what can go wrong. Why is somebody going to, judge me on this? Or, I'm not going to create a social media videos until I have, 365 already set out for the entire year, right? Instead, what should you do? Just do it. Just do something. We say it all the time. It doesn't matter what you do as long as you do something and you do it consistently. So, number one, social media, nobody cares. We all worry about social media. We all worry about what somebody's going to say, that, somebody may say something mean to me. They might judge me as, this, or they may this or that. But what you'll find is that it's probably the complete opposite. One time I expressed that to somebody. I said that. I said, well, I don't know that I want to deal with, the negativity that you want, that I want to deal with, people reacting a certain way. And the guy replied, he goes, well, he told me about a training that he went to, and he said, why do we always feel that we're so special that somebody would even care enough to even post something negative on our social media? So, most people just don't care. But we fail to realize that, and we get into this analysis paralysis and this fear that something negative is going to happen, when in the end, we need to just do something. Microsoft, when they used to release, their new Windows, whatever number they would have, shortly after they would release service packs, Service Pack 1, Service Pack 2, Service Pack 3. And the reason they did that is because they got to a point where they had to release their new Windows product before it became obsolete. So they would release it, and then that would allow mass testing to the general public, that everybody that's implementing this new new Windows product, and they could find all the bugs and the glitches and all of the areas that they needed to patch, and then they would send a service pack, and you download the service pack and it would fix all these problems. But they would have so much data coming in from everybody using it, they would find a lot of problems a lot faster than if they just kept it in the laboratory and they were trying to find these problems in the lab. And by the time it's perfected, it's already obsolete, because technology, doubles or triples every year now. So, we have to take the Microsoft strategy, get it good enough, and then just release it and start doing it, right? Another thing that we fall into, similar to analysis paralysis, similar to, it's kind of that being stuck, is we become a professional student. And man, this one is probably one of the biggest things that people fall into when they get their real estate license, because we all want to be instant experts and we can't. So what do, right? So how do you avoid becoming a professional student? You have to do step number 2. There's 3 steps, right? Learn, implement, repeat. And what a lot of people fall into is they learn and they repeat, but they never implement. You have to implement what you're learning before you go back and go learn something else. There's an old proverb that says to know and not to do is the same as not knowing at all. What does that mean? It means exactly what it says. It means if you go to school or you go to a class and you learn something and you do nothing with it, then you're going to get the same result as not learning it in the first place. So you wasted your time learning it. And I've seen it. I remember in the beginning of my career, there were agents that they just had that personality that all they wanted to do was learn and learn and learn and learn. And the problem with learning is you can feel like you're being productive, because what do you do when you're learning, right? You're thinking, you feel like you're being productive. You're making a plan while you're learning. Oh, I can implement this way. I can implement this way. But it never leads to anything because you're sitting in a classroom, right? You need to implement it. That's why we don't do a lot of trainings here at Miranda Executive Realty. We don't do, 1,000 trainings. This is the one training. We do 2 of these per month, and that's it. If you want, we do record them, and you can come back. You can watch them all at different times. But unless you're implementing what you're learning, then you're not doing yourself any good. And all you did was waste your time in that class. So, you take what you like and you leave the rest behind. You don't have to go to a class, that teaches you, all of these things, and you have to implement all of them before you go to the next one. But you should implement something before you go to the next one. Right? There needs to be something that you implement before you go on to the next one. You take what you like and you leave the rest behind. There needs to be implementation. There needs to be. Absolutely, absolutely must be. Number 5. Reason number 5. Is it 5? Yep, we're on 5. Poor models, poor results, or maybe even it's just too many models. Most real estate gurus, most real estate coaching companies, I've been at a lot of them. I've been a member of a lot of different coaching companies. I teach all of the same stuff that I was taught. And what I can tell you, when you go from one, the branding might be different, the buttons might be different, the colors might be different, the wording might be different, but it's all the same information. Whether you Club Wealth, Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry, it doesn't matter, KW, like it doesn't matter where you're getting the training. It's all the same stuff. It's all the same stuff. So, it may sound different. It may look different, but at the end of the day, it's all the same stuff. There's only so many ways that you can sell real estate. There's only so many ways that you're going to receive leads. There's no, as new technology comes out, maybe AI makes it, a little bit easier to implement, or AI can do some of these certain tasks for you, right? So there's always new strategies that you can implement, but there's still really only so many ways that you can do it. So I would say find, one coach, one company, one mentor, whatever it is, and embrace what that individual, whether it's, an outside coaching company, whether you only come to these trainings here, whether you only watch the Ask the Broker, whether you only pop into our lobby room when you have a need, don't get your information all over the place. It's fine if you're on Instagram and you follow a bunch of different coaches and you're hearing what they say, but if you're going to invest in one, or if you're going to invest in coaching, invest in one coach, implement what they're doing, because otherwise you're going to end up going all over the place, right? And make sure that there is a track record for success, right? You have to make sure that there's a track record of success. If there's no track record of success, like, would you take, and not to offend anybody here, But if you're going to get married, would you take marriage advice from somebody who's been divorced 5 times? Hey, can you tell me the key to a happy marriage? You've had 5 of them now. You must know how to be happily married. Or would you take marriage advice from, the old couple that's been married for 52 years? So make sure you're getting your advice from the right person. If the person does not have a track record of success, if those who can do, those who can't coach, kind of thing. So they were unsuccessful in real estate, so they decided that they want to coach it. Beware of that person, because they really probably don't know what they're talking about. I left. I've only been at a couple of real estate companies, but one reason that I left a real estate company in the past, one of the reasons, there were a few other reasons that I ended up leaving this company, but one of the reasons was because they put me with a mentor that this person was, I don't want to say the sport, but this person was a sports pro, and this person trained people in sports how to become better at that sport, but this person didn't sell any real estate. This person was a real estate agent, but I outsold this person, and they said, oh, we're going to place you with this individual, and this individual is going to be your coach. And I asked myself, I was like, well, what does this person have to teach me about real estate? I get it, like, maybe you're disciplined, and, maybe you coached people to success in your sport, but if you're not, it would be like Tiger Woods trying to, teach you how to hit a fastball. Or, we saw when Michael Jordan tried to go play baseball, right? Like, you need to stay within kind of your respective field. So, I got upset, and, that was one of the reasons that I left, because I don't think that if somebody is not successful in a field, like, we shouldn't take advice from people that are not beyond where we are right now, right? Like, if somebody is not outselling me, I'm not taking advice. If somebody has not been married to their spouse longer than me, depending how long they've been married, I may not take their advice. If somebody's got kids that are like, high school dropouts and, having all kinds of problems, I may not take parenting advice from them. Why would I? If somebody's constantly having car problems, why would I take, car advice from them? Your lawn is dead, but you're going to teach me how to make my lawn green. Same thing here. Same thing applies in real estate. Now, that's not to say that you don't, joint venture with somebody or co-op with somebody, and you take your, I have a talent and a weakness, you have a talent and a weakness, but when we combine, we complement talents and weaknesses. That's fine. That's okay. That's great. That's a joint venture. Just be careful where you're getting your advice from. Make sure you're getting your advice from quality, successful people. Number 6, you have a forgettable presence. And we're going to come back on this one in a little bit here. I don't know why this cat picture, even when we went through building this cat picture must be a huge picture or something, because it moves really slow. But you see, none of these cats here are really memorable. These the cats in these photos here, they all look pretty much alike. I don't know, maybe it's the same cat doing different poses at different times. I don't know, but they are not memorable, right? So, what is a forgettable presence? It's maybe somebody that is posts on social media randomly, right? You're not consistent on social media. Or maybe it's somebody, build your sales skills. So somebody that doesn't really know how to have the right type of conversations or take a buyer or seller down the right path, right? You need to be consistent in building your sales skills, and maybe you're not forgettable. Maybe they remember you so well because, well, let me not say you. Maybe an agent is not forgettable. Maybe an agent is actually so memorable because they really blew it on that appointment and they said something really stupid. You don't want to be, memorable in that way. You want to be memorable because you have strong sales skills, because you speak confidently. You want to be memorable because they say, oh, well, I know that this person here posts on social media every Monday from at 11 o'clock, and they talk about the market update. And then Monday at that time, if you don't post your market update, they're looking and they're wondering, well, where's my market update, right? And even though you might say, well, I didn't know anybody was watching this. Just because they don't like, comment, or whatever on it doesn't mean they're not watching it. So be consistent with whatever you're doing. Make sure you're building your sales skills. Have something to offer. Give some value in what you're doing. How do you make a better call? How do you go on a better listing appointment? How do how are you prepared for, when you're in the parking lot and you're trying to get the buyer to sign your buyer agency agreement, and they're hitting you with an objection, right? Your scripts, your scripts, your role playing, right? Be role playing with people, become memorable. Have a line that when somebody says something, just say, bam, right? I know exactly what to say. I've been waiting, for 6 weeks for somebody to ask me that question because I've got just the perfect, objection handler for that, right? But how do you do all these things? You have to be consistent. How do you remain memorable? You have to be consistent. Whether it's YouTube, whether it's email, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, it doesn't matter what it is. You need to be consistent with your messaging. You need to be consistent with what you say, right? Your sales skills should be consistent. Your scripting, role playing. Somebody says something, it's just like automatically what to say, how to say it. The body language, you should automatically, sales skills, mirroring and matching. There's so many different things. There's so many small little nuances to sales that, as you do these things, you're going to be memorable because, there's the saying, I think it was Maya Angelou or Mother Teresa, I don't remember which one, but, people may not remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel. Sales is exactly that. Sales is exactly that. They may not remember the response in what you said to them exactly, but they're going to remember the way that you made them feel when you said it. Did they feel heard when they gave you that objection? Did they feel, heard, when you responded to them? And, does your response make sense to what they've said? Did you affirm them in, the way that they feel? Do you validate them, or did you downplay them and just make them feel foolish and stupid? All of these things matter. You have to be building your sales skills, and you have to be consistent with it. All right, number 7 is my favorite one. Anybody that's talked to me for any amount of time, you probably heard me say this. Number 7 is my favorite one. Real estate agents fall into stray cat syndrome. I don't know if this is a real thing or not. I swear, I don't know. I feel like I made this up, but maybe I heard it somewhere. I don't know. But we've all observed stray cats in our lives, right? Some people love them. Some people hate them. Some people feed them. Some people call the animal control, but what do stray cats do? Stray cats got nowhere to be. They got really nothing to do, right? I've got stray cats in my neighborhood, and we drive, and we're driving down, and I see these stray cats sitting on the sidewalk, and they're all just hanging out there. They ain't doing nothing. They're not productive. They're not anything. They wake up when they want to wake up. They go to bed where they go to bed. They go to bed, when and where. It doesn't really matter. There's no structure. They don't think about food until somebody brings them food and feeds them, or they don't think about food until till they need food, and then now they're on the hunt all of a sudden, and then what they eat, and then what do? They go back into their old mannerisms, right? They're mating, they're reproducing, they're not productive. They can't be really trained. I got 2 cats, and I could tell you, from my experience, you cannot train a cat. I don't know. I saw a thing on Netflix one time that said you can, but I don't think it's true. I do not think it's true that you can train a cat, because my cats are they just have no cares, and there's just nothing you can do to get these cats trained. So do not fall into stray cat syndrome. And I think a lot of real estate agents in the industry fall into stray cat syndrome, and this covers a whole mess of situations. Just think about the stray cats in your neighborhood. Think about the way that they tackle their day. Think about the way that they plan their day, and compare that to just a real estate agent. My God, this is the biggest slide of all. This probably covers all of the slides, right? You ever heard of, trying to herd stray cats? You can't herd stray cats. They all run all over. They all go in different directions, right? Some of them may not even move. You run at them and they just sit there and they look at you and they know that you're not going to do anything. You pet them and they bite you, right? You're trying to be nice to them and they bite you. There are so many correlations between stray cats and human psychology. It's insane. Just do your own analysis on stray cats. Think about them. Think about all of the crazy things that stray cats do, and don't be them, right? Instead, be like what? Be like an ant, right? These tiny little creatures. But when you see an ant, man, they are focused. They are determined. You go to a picnic and you see them everywhere, and they know their purpose in life. Their purpose in life is to grab that food and take it back to wherever it needs to go. And that's what they do. And you see the line of the ants, and they're all marching, and they're going this direction, that direction. You see them, they stop, and they like talk to each other, or they do something. I don't know what they do. I didn't study this out. But, they're all, they have a purpose. There's a meaning to their life, right? And it may be one purpose. It may be one meaning, but isn't that really what you have as a real estate agent? You have one meaning. You have one purpose in life. As a real estate agent, what is it that you have to do? You have to close deals. Everything else leads up to that. That is your goal, is to sell a house, sell a condo, sell whatever, right? My God, if we could sell condos right now, that'd be amazing. But your goal is to get to the closing table. That's your goal. And if an ant were to have that goal, what would an ant do? Maybe we have some ants that are real estate agents. Maybe we have uncles that are real estate agents. There's a dad joke. But what would it, how does an ant tackle that? They do the same things over and over and over and over. They do them all the time. They do them over and over. You know what they don't have? They don't have number 8. They don't have the 8th reason real estate agents fail. The 8th reason real estate agents fail is they get a 9-to-5 mindset. Real estate does not work 9 to 5. Maybe if you're the bank, maybe if you're the title company, maybe if you're the real estate attorney, but real estate is not 9 to 5. Man, I've been at appraisals at 8 a.m. I've been at appraisals at 6:30 p.m. I've been at inspections those same hours. I've been at inspections on Saturdays and Sundays. I've been on showing every hour imaginable. I've gotten to the first showing and it was dark out. And I'm like, and sometimes you kind of think, you're like, man, I really hope this person buys something, because I could be at home watching Grey's Anatomy right now. Like, I could really be doing anything but showing a house. So I really, really hope that this person actually buys a house. And usually they do, right? Because we don't have that 9 to 5 mindset. The person that's buying the house, that has to look at houses at 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock, they have a 9 to 5 mindset because they have a 9 to 5 job. And they walk in and they know exactly how much money they're going to make today because they're hourly or salary. We don't have that luxury. We don't know how much money we're going to make today. We don't know if we're going to make any money today. But when we do make something, it's meaningful, right? Our commissions can be really, really nice. I've cashed some really nice commission checks in my life. I've had some really extraordinary months of multiple commission checks coming in 1 month in my life. So I'm here to tell you it's worth it. It's worth it to go out on the Saturdays and the Sundays. It's worth it to go out in the evenings. It's worth it to wake up extra early to do these things. It is worth it. If you put the time in, if you have that ant style mindset and you don't act like a stray cat, it is totally worth it to have this mindset. Don't think of real estate as a 9 to 5 job. I only do this, from these hours, and I don't do showings outside of that. I know there's coaches and there's trainings out there that tell you, don't, that they don't do it, right? There's people that don't do it, and that's fine if they don't want to, and that's fine. You know what? If you don't want to, but I just personally, I don't believe in putting those barriers on, on myself. I'd rather just accommodate that customer. And if you can't, then partner up with somebody that will. Or if you won't, partner with someone that will. If you can't, then partner with somebody that, that can. Like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't always have to be you. It can be somebody else, right? But, again, yeah, right here, it's a lifestyle, not a shift job. You're not 9 to 5. And if you are, you're going to miss out on business. You will. You might not miss out on all of it, but you will. This being said, let's go to reason number 9. We may not be a 9 to 5 job, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a schedule, and that shouldn't mean that you shouldn't, that you shouldn't have a structure to your day and to your week. Now, this here is just kind of a general guideline on, maybe a day or a way to think about, how you manage your week or your month, right? But these things matter. For me personally, so we moved to Florida in 2012. I had no friends. We had no family here. I didn't know anybody. We didn't have a job. Like, there was literally nothing. We were just kind of decided in 2010 that we wanted to move to Florida, and we began to make moves and make plans to make that happen. And finally, by February of 2012, we were able to move to Florida. Didn't know really where we were going to live. The first 2 weeks we lived in a hotel. But so, it was kind of a make or break situation for me. We were either going to make it or we weren't. But I knew if I was going to make it here in real estate, I had to have a structure. And so I built my business on cold calling. Expireds, pre-foreclosures, canceled, for sale by owners. I did them. I called, and I would call all day. I would call all day until I would reach a certain result. Sometimes I would have different goals. I'd say, okay, today I'm going to get 100 contacts. I'm going to make 100 contacts today. When I would make those days, it would take me 10, 11, 12 hours to make 100 contacts in one day. That's 100 contacts, not 100 dials, 100 contacts. I actually had a conversation. It would take me all day, beyond the normal 9 to 5 schedule, beyond 8 hours. It was 10, 11, 12, 13 hours calling within all of those legal time frames. I would have to call to reach 100. And I've only done it a couple of times, right? Sometimes I would say, I'm going to call until I set an appointment. Again, it was a long day because I might not get an appointment until the 4th or 5th hour. Sometimes I would just say, okay, I'm going to make 10 contacts. Most of the time, my goal was 20 contacts per day. And 20 contacts per day, that's a long day calling. But you need to figure out, what's your goal? What's your goal? Right? What are you going to do? You're going to door knock. Well, how many miles are you going to walk? How many doors are you going to knock? How much sweat are you going to lose door knocking? Are you trying to lose weight? I did door knocking. It is not fun for me. So if you want to do it, that's fine. That's great. But it's really just kind of not my favorite thing. When we do an open house, we want to drop flyers, but we usually have, like kids do it. Give them a few bucks, buy them a lunch, give them a donut. Usually they're happy. So, kids got the energy. So what do I do now? We do the power hour, right? So every morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., you're going to find us in a room just like this, and we're going to be in the power hour. What do we do there? Well, probably the most important thing that we do in there, besides calling, is we're scripting. We practice scripts every single morning in there, right? And I've been calling since 2012, man. I swear I have. Anybody that's ever been in an office with me will tell you that I just sit on the phones all day. I would sit on the phones all day. If I went back to doing that, I would make more money being a cold calling real estate agent than I do being a broker, owner, manager of this company. right? But I get more fulfillment actually out of doing this kind of stuff, teaching what I know, than making the cold calls and doing the sales and all of that. And I'm hoping someday it'll invert and I make more money doing this, but we'll see. We'll see. But for the time being, we are in the power hour room. So, do you have to call 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.? No. But you need to have a schedule. You definitely need to have a schedule. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. call every day, and then call again in the afternoon. Why not? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You want to sell real estate full time, but you're not doing the things that it takes to actually achieve this goal. Like, if you're not calling, then what are you doing? I love calling. I love it. It's predictable. It's scalable. If you get really good at one lead source, you will absolutely have a predictable pipeline of business. It doesn't matter what the lead source is. It could be online leads, it could be social media leads, it could be expires for sale by owners. It doesn't matter what that lead source is, but if you get really good at it, if you master the scripts and you master the objection handling, you will absolutely have a scalable business. You can say, okay, if I call for 1 hour a day, I know that by the end of the month, I'm going to set this many appointments, I'm going to write this many contracts, and by 90 days, I'll have this many closings. And then what do? You just 10x it, right? Here you go. Agent resources. Here's all your scripts. They're all there. We have laid them out for you. Like, feast your eyes. Here they are. Go in there, right? Different closing styles, because not every closing style is the same. Geo farming, voicemail, open house. How many expired scripts? How many Z buyer? Right? And you're like, oh my God, but I don't know how to do this. Like, this is just so much. Well, guess what? We're in the power hour room every morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. If I can do it, you can do it. I think. Should be able to. The only day I'm usually not in there is Thursdays, because I have another meeting that conflicts with it. But that's also marketing and like, that's also real estate related. The other meeting that I have every Thursday, usually from about 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I'm in a networking group, and I get leads and referrals from that. So I substitute it. But I do it every Thursday. Every single Thursday. You will not find me in the power hour room because I'm going to be at this other meeting. My attendance is perfect. My attendance is perfect. And if I can have perfect attendance, anybody can have perfect attendance. But this is the difference between interested and committed. If you're committed, you'll find a way to get there no matter what. And if you can't, look, I get it. Not everybody sells real estate full time. Maybe you're at a job from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and you just can't do it. Talk to us. We'll help you. We'll work with you. Do you have a scripting or role-playing partner? Do you have an accountability partner? Do you want one? Have you done it? Have you gone through it? I don't know, right? But there's ways that that are going to help you to speed up your growth and your learning curve. There's things that you can do that will help you to accelerate the amount of business that you do. Doesn't matter what you do, as long as you do it consistently. But no, as long as you do something and you do it consistently. I don't care what you do, you will find success in it if you do it consistently. But there's strengths and weaknesses for everybody, and there's areas where you're going to have higher conversion rates than others. Some people are better in person. You want to go networking? Then go networking all the time, and have a plan when you go networking. Make sure you don't go there and you just blast out your business cards and grab a bunch of business cards and then go to the next one. You got to reach out to these people. You got to build a relationship. That's what networking is. It's relation building, right? You're building a net of people, like a spider web of people, right? That you have a relationship with, that you give business, they give business, right? All of this being said, you got to have balance. Protect your personal time. I know I told you that, it's not Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, but you do need a day off. Everybody needs a day off. You do need to have fun. Everybody needs to have fun. And you do need boundaries. Now, look, I'm maybe the anomaly, because I will respond to a text message at 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, or I will answer a phone call at 8:30 in the evening. You don't have to do that. But what are your boundaries? And they need to be reasonable within your industry. Meaning, understand that, you know, if you're selling a home to, you know, a personal banker, they may not be able to take a phone call from 8 a.m. to like 5:30 p.m. Or maybe it's only on the lunch break because their job just doesn't allow it. You have to know the industry of the person, so you will need to work outside of normal business hours. I think, right? If you had a professional baseball player as one of your customers, and this person told you, well, you can't call me from this time, or you can't call me during this time of year because it's our season or whatever, and would you say, oh well, I don't work over Christmas because I'm just too busy. I know you want to buy a $14 million house during Christmas, and you have that time off, but I just don't do it. Would you do that? I wouldn't do it. I would work probably for that one. I might work on Christmas Day. I don't know. I probably wouldn't. I'm sorry. We would just have Christmas the next day. But you do have to have boundaries. You need to figure out your boundaries. And then one just kind of quick little hack, plan your next day at the end of the previous day. So today, before the day ends, figure out what you didn't get done today that you need to get done tomorrow. So have a plan. Again, it all comes around. It all comes full circle. All right. Number 10. This is obvious. Poor financial habits. You need a budget. You need a bookkeeper. So I had a CPA, same CPA for years, and the CPA told me how amazing QuickBooks Online is. Not online, I'm sorry, desktop. And when the CPA came in, I had QuickBooks Online, and the CPA had me switch to desktop. Fast forward to switched CPAs, went to another one who for months tried to tell me to go from desktop to online. I have been brainwashed that online was inferior. But now that I've switched over to online, I will tell you it is far superior. This other CPA, I don't know what this person was smoking, but QuickBooks Online is amazing. Like your numbers, your reports, all of it is like right there. It's amazing. I think I don't know how much it is, 60, 70 bucks a month. Not going to break the bank, but having those reports in front of you, do you look at your P&L at least once a month? Do you know if this was a profitable month or a losing month for you every month? The month of January, what was it? Was last year profitable or was it a net loser for you? You need to know your money, and the sooner you start doing this, the easier it is as you grow. It's a lot easier to do it now when you're not selling millions and millions of dollars worth of real estate every year, as opposed to when you start doing that, then you got to set it all up. You need to know where you are. Again, right? What's your goal? Do you have a financial goal? Well, how are you going to know if you're on your way there? And in real estate, I can tell you from experience, it doesn't matter how much money you make. Success in real estate has nothing to do with how much money you make. Success in real estate has everything to do with how much money you keep. Because we've all, let me not say we all, I have fallen into where I'm not looking at my money and I sign up for all of these shiny objects, right? I mean, I've fallen into it. So, I'm preaching from a side of from experience that, I do this, and then it's kind of like the trainings, right? And you sign up for all these trainings, you never implement anything. Well, you sign up for all these marketing things and you never like really fully like implement yourself into them. It's that, right? So red light, green light. I used to have a strategy, and actually I had a thing. It was a doing done board, and it had a stoplight, right? Red, yellow, green. And I would know, right? So what am I doing? Well, what am I going to do? There's 3 columns. What am I currently doing? What have I done that didn't work? And I had a rule. Number 1, I try everything for 6 months before I quit it. And number 2, I don't sign up for a second thing until I figure out if the first thing is working or not. If the first thing's working and I've mastered it and I'm doing well in it, and I'm doing it, how using this marketing technique however I need to, then maybe I'll sign up for a second one. Or if I quit this one because it failed, because a lot of things fail, right? And it goes into my done pile, then I can do something else. But until, you need to play red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light. And when you signed up for something new, you're red light, man. You ain't signing up for nothing new, but you can put that into your do column that later on you will do it. But right now I'm doing this, and you're not going to do something new until that is, you know that I'm going to continue doing it because it's working out well, or I'm done doing it because it failed. Can't sign up for every shiny object. Cannot sign up for every shiny object, because every time we go into social media and we fall into one of those funnels, we may not be able to get out of it. Top 10 reasons. Reason number 11. This is just a bonus reason, but it's inconsistent marketing. And I touched on this earlier, but I think that this is a really important one. It's inconsistent marketing. If you're going to do social media, make sure you do it consistently. You should really be posting every day. 3 times. You should have 3 posts per day. Why should you be posting on social media? I'm going to tell you why. Because every single one of us have done this. So if we've done it, we know that other people do it, right? We're all stalkers. What do I mean by stalkers? When somebody reaches out to you about something, do you not go and look them up on social media? If somebody, wants to sell you something, I can tell you right now, every single one of you that is on this call, before we had our first meeting, I stalked you on social media. I knew who you were, and you should be doing the same. If you're not stalking people, you should be. Before you go on a listing appointment, do you stalk your customer before you go on a listing appointment? Would it be helpful to know that you're walking into a dog lover's home? Would it be helpful to know that you're walking into somebody that a vegan's home? Would it be helpful to know that you're walking into a Democrat or Republican's home? Right? Like, what can you learn about social media? Learn about people on social media? Literally everything. So this is your platform for sales, because before you go on a listing appointment or a buyer's appointment, when you make that phone call, that person may stop and they might look you up. And they might figure out if you're a Democrat or a Republican. Do you want people knowing that? Maybe. I don't know. Right? It's up to you. Maybe they'll figure out that you're a dog person or a cat person, or you hate cats. Does that help you that somebody knows that you hate cats? Probably not, because I love cats. That's just my biased opinion. But you have to be consistent on social media. Inspirational, professional, and business. If you have the time to do it, make a plan, make 3 posts per day. 1 inspirational, 1 professional, and 1 business. Business and professional is not necessarily the same thing, right? And then email. Email is the greatest, best, most amazing thing ever, because there's still really no boundaries to email. I know they tried to set some and then they backed that up and they didn't do it yet. I hope they never do. But most of that had to do with like AI and all that. But, email, schedule your emails. Mondays and Thursday mornings are going to be the best time to send them out. Schedule it to go out 6 a.m. Monday and Thursday morning. Schedule them. Make sure they're genuine, informative, and relevant. Offer value. Everything that you do, offer value. Make sure that you're offering value. And finally, what about today's market? Where are we at? I can tell you real estate agents are quitting today. I can tell you in 2019, real estate agents were quitting. They were going back to their jobs, doing whatever else they did before. They were not renewing their licenses. They were not doing anything. I do not do that. When the real estate market gets tough, I double down my efforts. I have more listings than I've had in a long time because the real estate market's tough. I'm carrying listings longer, but I also have more listings because I'm doing more of the activities that are going to lead me to getting listings. Don't believe me? Go into Bold Trail, go into company listings, and look how many listings that we're currently carrying. Right? Number 1, they're taking longer to sell. I'll be honest there. I have a closing today, actually. Didn't have to attend it because it's out of town, but we literally had one of those listings is closing today. So stuff is selling. It's a co-op, which is worse than a condo. Stuff is selling. You have to have a plan. I am hitting my customers up for a lot of price reductions all the time, all the time, all the time. Price reduction, price reduction, price reduction, right? But what do you do when times get tough, right? A fisherman doesn't wait out the storm. He mends his nets. So when the sky's clear, he's ready to sail. So when real estate takes longer to sell, you don't stop doing the things that get you listings, that get you buyers, that get you deals, that get you contracts, that get you closings. You keep doing it so that when the market turns around, you can have a record year because you've picked up market share. So what does that mean? When real estate agents are quitting and they're not making phone calls and you do more of what they're not doing, when you double down on your efforts and you make more phone calls, you're going to pick up market share. The same thing happened in 2019. When COVID-19 happened, I can tell you in the beginning, it was scary. Real estate was like to a screeching halt. Nobody was buying anything. And all of a sudden, bam, something changed, and it changed overnight. And all of a sudden, it's 2020, end of 2020, all the way through 2021, part of 2022. Man, I made so much money in that market. Why? Because when it was slow, I didn't stop doing what I was supposed to do. 2019 was 2018 was also kind of a tough year. 2017 was a very good year. But no matter what, you just keep doing it, right? When there's a storm, that's when the fisherman's fixing his nets. That's when the fisherman is preparing for the sunny skies again. If you wait until sunny skies to start doing what you know you were supposed to be doing, the fisherman that had their net already repaired and ready to go is already out there catching fish. So do it now, build your market share, build your pipeline, right? And sooner or later, that pipeline's going to run out and you're going to have more customers and more business than you know what to do with. Top 10 reasons with your bonus on why, from my experience, why real estate agents fail. And the overarching thing, when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, what do I need to do today so that I don't become a stray cat real estate agent? Just ask yourself that, right? How am I going to be more like an ant that covers everything? And I'll tell you how you do it. We've trained it before, Pareto's principle, the 20%. Where are you at today? You need to focus on lead generation, lead follow-up, going on appointments, writing contracts, closing those contracts. That's it. If you're not going on appointments, then you need to work on your lead generation, lead follow-up. If you're going on appointments, if you don't have contracts, then you probably need to work on those scripts. You need to figure out how to close those contracts. If you have contracts and they're falling apart over and over and over and over, you need to figure that part out. Maybe you need a transaction coordinator. We did have an agent that came in with a lot of listings that couldn't sell these listings. And when that agent came to us, they all sold because of a transaction coordinator. It's that 20%. Here's where you're at. Don't be a stray cat. That's all we have. All right, we're a little bit over on time. I appreciate everybody for sticking around while we go over on time. We're going to now open it for questions, responses. Does anybody have any questions on this training? Anybody have any thoughts on this training? Am I totally wrong? Or did I miss any points? Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. We're going to take one final shameless plug. If you know a real estate agent, keep in mind our REAP rewards. We've actually been sending out a couple of these payments, like on average every month now for REAP rewards. If you know an agent that that could benefit from being in this structure of a real estate company where you have the support, where you have the leads, where you have the broker access, let them know. We're definitely recruiting. We're recruiting somewhat aggressively now, so take a picture of that. Scan the QR code, do whatever you need to do. But it is a way that when you sponsor somebody, you can, when they have a closing, you're going to get part of that closing. So next training on Ask the Broker is going to be March 11th. Hope to see you there. Next week is going to be our roundtable group coaching. This is where we don't have the format. This is where we kind of come and we talk about what's relevant to the individual. It's more individual type coaching. That's actually my favorite type of coaching because I don't have to talk the entire time. But Until then, please don't stay stuck. You know how to find us. We're in the lobby room, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can come in. You can pop in on us literally anytime. You have my cell phone. Call me, text me, whatever it is. Don't call me and apologize for bothering me, because you are never a bother to me. I want to talk to you. It's very important that you don't stay stuck. It's very important that when you don't know something, that you can come to us to get the answers. You can go to Irene if you want a mentor. Let us know. We'll get you hooked up with a mentor. If you don't know where to find something, you know it's a resource that we have, and you don't know where to find it, let us know. There's literally no reason to stay stuck. If you have a deal that's going sideways, tell us right away. Doesn't matter what it is. Don't stay stuck. But if you're not going on appointments, writing contracts, and closing deals, then you need to go back to number one and number two. You need to be lead generating, lead following up. You don't know how to do it, pop in with us. Let us help you. Power hour, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., literally every single morning. So that's all I have. I'm off my soapbox. So happy, so grateful for everybody here, and look forward to seeing you all soon. Take care.